allowed to. So without that reality, it's gonna be tough.
Okay. So, for me, I know making videos don't change reality. It's not going to change what's going to happen to me. And I've accepted reality for what it is. Matter of fact, like I said, I know what is the reality is that it's going to make things worse for me. Worse. You know, to them who are partaking in this program run by the government, this is provocation. I think they were under the deluded reality that I was going to let them involve themselves, enjoy all these incentives. It's funny. They try to say this made me say something that I was, wasn't trying to say, but they enjoy these incentives of participating in this program. It gives them the feeling of godly feeling. For example, I said this word "do" that I know it's not me who's trying to say that. They just control me to say that, and what it means is they're involved in something that can empower them into the point of manipulating a human being. I understand the appeal of that. As I fully understand why would somebody would want to participate in that. By what cost? And what they've involved themselves into is not something I will never let them live in that fantasized way. They put these things together. The reality is so disgusting and grotesque. Now, listen. I will never think that the reason why this is happening to me is because of these individuals here. I know the true sources of how I ended up being in this program where they're using human subjects from men, women, and children in regard of developing this technology. I know where it comes from. I have no doubt. For me, at this point, the way I look at these perps is the way they're just trying to create a facade, like try to distract me from reality. Try to make me think of anything but this massive government running this program that is so foul that they would even use babies, infants in this program. Now, the participants are not the creme de la creme. I mean, some of the neighbors I'm hearing talking to me, or who sound like neighbors, via this voice to skull where they can pipe in voices in your head. It sounds sometimes they're just not too far from you. And you see this childlike people. Now, these people are not these childlike individuals. Matter of fact, I think what they do is just they try to hype and kind of give moral support of some sort in this childlike looking people here that's really clownly. Now, these people are employers. And I made a video immediately when I got hired. I was like, oh, these people are just hiring me to break me down. I mean, I literally made a video. And you can see like me saying, oh, I know this they just hired me to basically destroy me. It was a purpose of my destruction. It was the journey of my destruction. I was like, okay, it's clear. They went through the directed conversations and everything else to do that. And I was like, I know what you guys do. Now, I got to start with, thank you, God. I got to be thankful to God. I got to. And my channel is not a religious channel. I'm not here to preach in a religious way. But I've always been somebody religious in the first place, but this has definitely added to it. Because throughout this disturbing thing I'm going through, it's just been validations as some surreal, like it's just magical at some point. I mean, the things you're going to hear will be a clear indication what this really is about and the horrible reality of who's running this program. Now, you see these people here. Right, these perps, they're supposed to be reasonable, respectable individual who are my co-workers. Now, I know they're not the people in charge of what's happening to me. I know that the government is using me as just one of so many other test subjects, and my life is going to be destroyed because of that reason. Not because of them, just because they've involved themselves in this program. My life was already being distracted because I was already put in this program. On August 19, 2019, I understood what it means. They made me understand, kill yourself, because at this point you're no longer going to be yourself. We have your brain. I didn't get it at the time. Then you get validated. And matter of fact, on August 20, 2020, I'm on this TI video, right, where me and so many others from all around the world are saying this is destroying men, women, children all around the world. Then you hear a woman saying the same thing from Malaysia. Then you hear a woman from Chicago. Then you hear a woman from Michigan, from all around the world. And today, These people want me to forget this reality because now I work with these people, even though I know they perps, and they want me to make me think this fantasy of reality. You see these individuals here. Those people are not some of these neighbors of mine, or some like childlike, pathetic, low life. Matter of fact, it's not fair to these neighbors because these people are hyping these people. These people here you see here are hyping and excited that these people living around me are framing me using their own children. You know damn well these people will never have their children do these things. But I'm like, yeah, go ahead. For me, I'm like, I'm saying that in the mean-spirited way that I pray that they continue to live this life. There's a woman, Sharon, she's such a lovely sounding human being. She says things like, she's a target individual. You hear her say, my whole life is destroyed, everything is difficult, I don't live life normally. Everybody around it, the doctors are involved, the law enforcement is involved. You're going to hear all those testimonies, and I'm going to make sure they hear that. Because they truly delude themselves and create this false reality. Now, I'm going to say this. Listen, I don't pray for these people to have bad health or live a bad. I don't care, truly, because I know their impact in my destruction. It was just more of a, just like a natty thing that was going to happen regardless, right? It's somebody who's already dying and you jump into their death. It's like, I'm already dying. I should not be looking at you as like, you're the reason why I'm dying. I was dying before I even knew about you. But the funny part is what I've experienced while being employed by these people. And this is why I need to continue to do what I need to do and try to maintain relaxation. I need to calm down, not even relaxation. They make me say, I need to calm myself down. The things I've experienced while working here, these people are supposed to portray themselves as this reasonable, and I think that's why they wanted to be they want to be the one employing me, because the people who put me in this program are like the extreme conservative, like they have donated so much money. There's like articles about them in the country. They've really done things to make themselves pretty recognizable in a very conservative ways. And not only conservative, some of this is like extremely conservative, to the point where, I remember being in the office with these people, and I would say purposely, hey, say Roy Moore. They start sweating bullet as if I was speaking about this like God, that it will be blasphemous just to mention his name. Now, right now they can say when I don't hear it, but if I say that in front of them, you should see how they react. Now, I'll go back to these people saying these things. Listen, I don't care about how they feel physically, health-wise. It doesn't bother me. Matter of fact, I think I will be sad to hear the things happen to them in their life. If anything, I shouldn't, because they're participating in my death, right? But the reality has come. What I mean by reality, some of these people you see here have gotten sick. Very sick. Matter of fact, you see this man there tell me how I'm dying, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, I'm dying because my body is being destroyed. I can look at you and know that you're not healthy. So you dedicating your life, whatever long is going to be, whatever limit is going to be, I pray that you continue to live this life. You're going to see me scream. Is it going to elongate your life? Is it going to prolong your life? Matter of fact, he might do the opposite things. So I see this man talking about how I'm going to get a stroke. Matter of fact, that's why I call it stroke. Then start laughing. I laugh. I was like, yes, I'm sure I'm going to have a stroke. I'm sure I'm going to get a seizure. But my friend, looking at you, I think that there's things that can happen to you. So for me, whatever I'm going to experience is an experience forced onto me. Matter of fact, they try to create this manipulation by saying stroke, but then make me think of me as a freaking middle schooler. To say, now you pay, that's abuse. Oh my gosh. First of all, as a child, I don't need to explain. These people here have kids. They understand children have a developing brain of a child. But you're going to hear what they're involved in, because these people, who some of them are parents that you see here, know that this program literally tortured children. So to hear this person thinking that I'm going to let them escape and act like, oh, we're so mad. Remember what you did as a kid, pay now. Like, you fucking low life. You who is even a father can stand there involved in a program that is destroying kids, hurting, damaging children. And you think that what you're going to try to hold on to make you feel whole, to feel better about what you're involved in, is try to exaggerate what a freaking child at that age. Look at these kids there. I put that on purpose to put things in perspective, because you're going to hear the horrible things they do to babies. And they try to be like, we're so severe. You know why they use the word severe? Because one of the testimony that you're going to hear is that they severely suffocate children. Severely suffocate. And it's like, oh, we're severe. Because what they try to say is like, oh, we don't care if you're a child, or you were a child when you did whatever dumb thing you did as a kid. We're severe. Yes, I know you're severe. Just like you're severe in when you torture children. When they're severely being suffocated, piece of shit. For me, I gotta calm myself down. Because I don't get lost in their fantasy. Talk about me as a freaking, look at this kid. Imagine you try to make somebody, oh, you pay for what you did as a kid. Look at this. This is a fucking child. While you're involved in a program that torture children, you think I'm going to block that out? You don't think I'm going to think about a Down syndrome child being sexually tortured by low life like you, or people who participate in these things? I associate this baby's torture to what you're involved in. What you deserve, my friend, is not something I'm capable of doing, but some have. These people, what they deserve is something beyond. So for me, like this perp tell me, I need to be strong. Because they think they can compensate to be involved in a program that torture children by torturing me extremely hard. I'm like, you know what? So you get your worst, I need to run to it. And for these people, who some of them look like they're dying, tell me how I'm dying. It's like, okay, at least me, I'm dying. Because this program that's torturing babies is killing me. You are here, have the choice to live a dignified life for however long you have to live. And you're involved in a program where you're going to hear these horrible things. Mass shootings, check. Torture children, check. Torture women, check. Rewiring the brain in this fucking disturbing pedophilia way, which is like, now what we're doing, we're mapping your brain to you as a child like that. You fucking retarded, you trash ass. If I ever can let you leave this fantasy. Try to say that my brain is just being restructured the way my brain was when I was a kid. Yeah, so you're making me mentally retarded. That's what you're saying. No, target individual, stay strong. Stay strong. Because this trash have this tendency of manipulating the brain in these pedophilia ways. And guess what? These entities who've been working on this technology for decades, which you're going to hear, the DARPA has been working on the fucking electromagnetic, let me calm down. They've been working on electromagnetic frequency radiation to see how they altered the mind since the 60s. But the gaslighting is just magical. I mean, it's just, I don't know how they can, you see, these people are very smart people and rational when it needs to be. I mean, at least most of them. I mean, I've seen some cases where, but I mean, the way they even try to gaslight you to make you feel doubtful comes in ways that is just surreal. And for me, I'm like, I laugh about it and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use as the example of how they can gaslight you. For example, and you better never be wrong in anything else you do in life, because they're going to try to use you. Use that moment to be doubtful. Target individual, do not have any doubt about what's happening to you. Do not. It gets to the point where some of these people here, and it's always the same tactic. It's part of the gaslighting method. For example, I joined this new project. I spent maybe 2-3 hours on it. 4 hours max, right? That's not enough for you to have mastered anything. You're still in that process of really being onboarded. Now, and these people here, what they like to do is like just kind of make it hard for me. They kind of bombard me. It's part of like how they make it hard for you to function. And so, a question is asked, and with my limited expertise I have on this account, I say something that perhaps I'm not fully understanding because I'm just new to this. And you see them just be so excited. Oh, okay, yes. And then for them, it's just validation that you should now identify with the things which make you experience. Because you didn't know the answer to that, or you had this answer wrong. I'm like, really? Even this is one thing, at least, to just use something that I've been involved in for a long time. But to even use something that you just joined in, that shows how pathetic it becomes. And for me, they know I'm not going to identify. I understand this is part of this gaslighting method. But these perps like them, who use that as like we're validated. You, who just joined this project with very minimal time with it, have this answer wrong or answer these things like I'm gonna end. Okay, let them hold on to that. But reality is gonna come. For me, I'm like, you're gonna make me feel like a genius. You are going to make me feel like a genius. Then they're like, oh, now you pay up. We target individual. These perps that you see here no longer respect themselves the second they start participating. They deal with a self-disrespect that is magical. I don't think I'm any smarter than them. I just understand what they have done to themselves. They have reconstructed themselves in ways to deal and cope with this false reality. To validate themselves, they use me being new to something that I don't really understand. Well, I'm learning to understand, that I understand in a certain way, that I have very minimal experience. And me saying, being off on that as expected. And I'm like, okay, well, let that be what you are feeling validated by. Because you're going to make me feel like a genius and a prophet. And I'm very comical when I say this. I'm being comical in the sense that obviously I know that you don't expect me to know as much as at the state. I know that you know that I'm new to this project, and so my expertise is going to be limited. The person who's going to be there longer, who've been dealing with it for a longer period, will be the person who's the expert. I'm just somebody who is being transitioned to be an expert on this project, but I'm not there yet. Do I think I'm a genius for being able to say that? And no. I understand that your job is to try to break me down into accepting. But what you've done at this point, this perps, what they've done is they made me feel so much smarter, because I'm like, oh, that's what you're doing. I'm figuring this is what you do, and this is going to be like that for anything. If I look at the car, the color of the car changes. Is it not blue, but it's like purple? And I say blue, they come say, you see, prove you're wrong. It's you. We mapped it. Now, this is an extreme level, but that's the kind of concept they're using. That's the same tactics and concept. For me, the validation that we have, that you're being manipulated and that you hear this, for the sole purpose of trying to disorient you, is validated. Because everything else that you're going to go through, you're never going, as a target individual, you're not unique to that. And then when they try to make themselves believe that they're doing it to make you pay, today you pay. It's so disgusting, because you're going to hear who's talking to you and what they're involved in. And sometimes what they try to do is like, no, we're different. Even that, you're going to hear the validation that, oh, they like to present themselves as something else by this massive government. Even that. Just our children, the governmental entities that runs this program, you're going to hear what's going on with their children, or what's going on with them taking care of it, or caring about children. With this level of validation, I swear you would think that you're a genius. But the truth is you're not. The truth is they're doing everything possible with every way to gaslight you. And to gaslight you, they have to dumb themselves down. And the truth is they enjoy what they're involved in. The incentives are so amazing to them. You're going to hear the torture of women and children. You're going to hear the mass shootings. You're going to hear the way they manipulate people. You're going to hear things that are so specific to this pedophilia type of torment that you're going to hear a woman literally say, oh, they do the pedophilia type of torture. It's just as surreal as you're going to hear a woman say, oh, they do this program of perversion and they aim it toward children. So basically forcing her to get sexual arousal and aim those toward children. You're going to hear women saying, oh man, I'm hearing there's a bunch of females. What kind of female would do that to a woman? You're going to hear people say things like, me and my young child are being used as test subject. And this is happening to me. You're going to hear the torture of children. As I'm saying that, somebody said you burn, to counter that, because I'm calling out the tortured children in this program. You obviously know what this is about. And for me, the way I should see them as validated, or you say this thing the wrong way, or this is off in this project you just started. Yes, it's true. You see, you protect kids. It's so me now. They gonna make the mistake because they themselves have to rearrange themselves to make you accept this manipulation. They dumb themselves down where anything they can use that to try to make you doubtful, but it has nothing to do with anything. These grown people. Now imagine I'm gonna listen to these testimonials, and I'm gonna bring up everything. Let's start off with this. One thing that you're gonna hear here is the fact they torture children. They involve in a program where children are being tortured. I want to start off with the specific testimonials of women saying, me and my young child are being used as test subject. She says that. And then she says, my testimony is so long, I have 4 pages of it. We don't have time to go through it. But it's similar to this woman. You're going to hear what this woman says. And you're going to hear that she's going through the same thing this woman says. And we're going to hear something crazy. That a lot of target individuals say the same thing. The testimonials are so exactly this, so similar that you understand there's a concept, there's a system. For me, you know what they're saying? Because these people are my current employee who hired me to fire me. It's like, oh, you're fired. I was like, okay, well, okay. Is that what you're going to use? You're going to use me just joining a project that just maybe I spent a good 3 hours on? Okay, like that. You see, there's one of the person with glasses over there. She looks like she goes on La La Land. I'm gonna blur her picture, but the truth is, you see her in person. It's just so. She comes in. She just started working out. Like maybe it's been 4 months, focusing on that specific project. I just joined in 2 weeks, maybe good. And within the 2 weeks, it's not even very like. It's not like I've been focusing on the things. And like try to use my early stage of being onboarded to try to gaslight me. I was like, okay. I see what you're doing, I guess. Whatever. It's like me. Imagine you just start somebody. So it's just start somewhere where somebody just got recruited where you work. They're 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, and you're like, oh, you're off here. You got what? But anyways. Listen to the testimonials. I don't care. Listen, I'm going to go through some horrible things. I know. I expect it because I've humiliated people who are willing to damn themselves to this level to counter what you're just going to hear. Starting off, this woman. Her name is Catherine Nestor. This is the bioethics of 2011. A bunch of target individuals came to that meeting hoping to testify and say what's happened to them in hope that it's going to help them. This woman, you're going to clearly hear what she says. She said, me and my young child are being used as test subject in this program, which is definitely looking like it's developing of a weapon. We're being used in this fashion. We need your help. Listen to that.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
Thanks. My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
Thanks. My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MK Ultra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan. And please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
So you obviously hear this woman saying, me and my young child and I are being used as test subject. Now, listen, I know what this is really about. I understand at this point with the amount of time I spent going through testimonials, understanding what happened. It was a long process, but I'm here now to the point where there's just more validation than if anything. And the thing is, there's so much common testimonials that it's obvious there's a system, there's a procedure, there's a thing going on that is supposed to be done, and when it's done in the same way. She said at the end, right, and her and the young child, you heard the horrible things they go through. I don't know how young her young child is, but let's just say that it's younger than 10 years old. Going through these horrible things. No, these people here want me to somehow block it out. And you know what they try to say? Oh no, we're doing it, it's our money. I'm like, what? Of course he's the government doing that. Why would this woman say, me and my young child are test subject? Because they obviously know this is a program that's utilized very sophisticated technology that only the Department of Defense or only the DOD or only governmental entities of that level can be utilizing. These people here, of course, I'm with this level of technology. Of course, I know it's not them running this program. Their job is to just gaslight me to the point of just forgetting that. Paint a fantasy of a reality to the point where what I just said about like me just joining this and just saying something off about something I just don't really know too much about because I'm just haven't been here long enough doing this thing. But I'm saying that it's been done like that in so many ways. I mean, it's just everything. The things that have nothing to do, anything they can use to try to make me feel doubtful. And the thing they use most of the time is have nothing to do with my targeting. And they get super confident and happy. I'm like, what the hell? Are you serious? This is what you're going to hold on to. And you're going to... Listen, this woman at the end said Connie, right? Just like Connie. She said 4 pages of stuff that she goes through similar to Connie. Just give you a reference to what Connie says. Listen to that. A lot of what Connie says, I've gone through the same thing. The stimulation, the V2K, the noises, it's just so similar. And they want me to still be doubtful about it. Listen to her describing what she went through, which is similar to what Catherine Nestor says what she went through with her young child. Listen to this woman. Her name is Connie.
Mrs. Marshall?
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Marshall. I'm a former mayoral candidate from Louisville, Kentucky. I have never been involved in any criminal activity. I found a document in my bank account that said problem with Kentucky government. Check federal government paperwork and file before releasing information to anyone. I am an 8-year victim survivor of assaults by directed energy weapons. The torture I've experienced consists of body overheating, body extremely cold, seizures, heart pain, earaches, itching behind eyes, burning behind eyes, swelling, headaches, involuntary movement of my limbs, exhaustion, speeding and heart racing, hair coming out by the handfuls as if I've had chemotherapy, mind paralysis, being hypnotized or placed in a trance-type state, being tracked by a drone or satellite, controlled dreams, sleep deprivation, V2K, which is voice to skull, projected sound, extreme muscle spasms, and extreme muscle cramps, being made to fall down, blue circles around the pupils of my eyes, and I'm here and you can look at them if you like, low frequency noises in my home, high-frequency noises in my home, sexual stimulation. Numerous electrical appliances in my home are destroyed. 4 computers, 2 fax machines, 7 telephones, 4 CD players, VCR, DVD players, electrical igniter switch on my furnace, washer and dryer, air conditioner. Also, my car radio, CD player, and engine were destroyed. I am watched in my home 24 hours a day and followed around everywhere I go, though I do not have a criminal history. When I ran for mayor of my town, I was also attacked at debates and forums. My website is www.justiceforallcitizens.com. Thank you. And I would like to leave these flyers with you all as well.
So you hear her testimonies. What this woman went through is what what's her name? Catherine Nestor went through. And a lot of it, what she says, is what I've went through too. I'm going through. And you know how they try to gaslight me? Oh, you say this about this project in this way, in this you're wrong with this thing because you thought it was about this. What? I'm telling you, they are no longer. They are dumbing themselves down in every way possible to get you to accept these things. In my brain, they really try to make me doubtful. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, okay. Okay, yeah, that's you're right. You know, believe it or not, somebody who just joined this program, who's being just joined this project, who is just new to this, who's being definitely bombarded with things to look at, that to the point where, yeah, you know, it's crazy that I was off with this. Guess what? You're right. You are protecting women and children all around the world. You are avenging. You see that kid you see over there, those kids? Those are the threats. You guys are protective of children. You are not manipulating my brain. You're not. You're not. You won. You are just the winners and the protectors of children. And it's your money. You've proved it. With this very strong lunch. It's crazy. And I'm thankful. Some of the people perps, this is a new perp over there, you know, with the glasses, and she's really she has this she has this look that just kind of makes sense, you know. Honestly, I don't want to judge people by the way they look, but she has that interesting, anyways, you're gonna be really pushed to a level of nonsensicalness, and then reality is gonna hit, real reality, not the way they just put things together. It's crazy. This woman Connie talk about losing her hair as if she went to chemo. It's like radiation is done onto us. It's like we are getting symptoms as if we're going through chemo. And I'm not sure if it's because the technology they use is similar to radiation of some sort or something like that. But we truly have radiation type of symptoms. But with that being said, you got to be strong because, I mean, for me, there's been this disgusting facade that you see here. Above, you see a man all the way there. You see those 2 women over there. Those 3 women over there, all trying to create this facade. Now, I know the reality of things. I will never delude myself with reality. I will never. When they try to use my employment as a way to gaslight me, first of all, I'm in this state. I'm truly, you say yourself, I'm dying. You know that. You think a man that is dying can perform as well? A man that's slowly losing his health can perform? No, his health is enabling him. So I know that there'll be a point where, as much as I'm capable of right now, which is already lower than the norm, in my norm at least, it's going to get worse. Because you're right. I know that my body, as a target individual, is breaking down. Listen, on TI Day 2020, you're going to hear these women all around the world. One woman say, she moved out of her place because she thinks her neighbors are killing her with this technology. She feels pain. Now, I'm staying here where my neighbors are still doing these horrible things to me, and I do feel symptoms of something being happening to me. It's a miracle that I'm still able to function. I don't even think it's a smart thing for me, but I just, through to my last breath, I'm going to do my best. But I know that I'm losing my health. I don't know how close to death I am, but I can feel fatigue, tired, and it's just hard for me to function, and I know my body is just not doing well. I know that I'm going to get to the point where death is going to be, coming closer. But it's okay. The one thing we have in common is death. So all these people you see over there, they're going to meet it. Death is going to come. Some of them look, like I said, sickly. I don't know if they're actually sickly, but they look sickly. Some of them already going through some treatments for serious things. But listen to what on TIA Day 2020, you're going to hear me first. Before I even start working for these people here you see in front, I was on TIA Day saying these things. On TIA Day, I said this. And listen to that.
I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, B2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
We need this to stop.
electronic harassment, and I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and I'm a victim of organized
We need this to stop.
electronic harassment, microwave torture.
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand, but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Wishes to hand down.
Why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, first floor, second floor, 2 garage, backyard, land, everything. Can't live in my house. My neighbors are shooting direct energy weapons through my house. I hold my heart like this. You know why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. Come get me. Oh, Lord, because I think I'm dying.
So, obviously, you hear the reality, right? This woman being smart and trying to survive, leave their home where they think their neighbors are doing things for her to feel like she's dying. And I know that's true, that neighbors obviously participate, or at least people who move in and become neighbors. And so, yeah, you do feel like, at least in my case, I feel like I'm phasing away. And it's just nasty to know that the people here doing that want you to think that somehow they're a bunch of femme fatale, avenging, feminists, protecting. You pay now, today you pay. Literally, that's what they say. Today you pay. They involved in this. It's time to pay. All kind of weird version of like what they want to present themselves. Can you imagine being involved in this? They involved in this program. That's why you hear me. The first person you hear speaking is me. I'm glad before the day I die or get tortured, I say that and prove that this is destroying the life of women and children. I'm here. I'm not going to let these people escape and come up with this gaslighting thing that has nothing to do. I'm telling you, it becomes target vigil. The way they gaslight you is illogical. But it's part of this. That I swear, if you painted something the wrong color, oh, you see that's proof. Or you did this, anything. And I know these people are desperate to kind of try to prove me wrong by any means and prove me wrong on things that makes no sense in regard of what's happening to you as a target individual. Oh, so you did this formula like that. Oh, you see, that's proved out. What? First of all, you hear how hard it is to function as a target individual. So, target individual, expect to not be able to perform at your best. Expect that. Do not even try to understand. Don't even try to compete with yourself in the sense that how you'll be able to be capable today is not going to be the same. You hear me speaking in this struggling way. I've accepted that, man. I'm just surprised that I'm still even functioning right now, the way I'm functioning. On top of that, I'm making videos because to me, my work is important, but these people are perps. They're here to break me down. What's going to last is what I say now, because I will not be able to say that soon. So this is more important, which is draining too. But I think that's my purpose. My purpose is to ensure that these people who partake in this have the warnings that they've been warning me about. Okay, you're going to do your worst to counter these tortures of women or children. Expect some worse thing happen to you. Or you're worse, in a sense. You heard this woman and her young child being tortured. You heard what she compared it to. You heard this woman saying how she get tortured. You hear me saying this is torturing men, women, and children all around the world. You heard this woman. And you want me to look at you what? Because of what sales of this thing over there? Really? Okay. Now let's go back to children. They're gonna make me have a stroke. My brain really is just woo. I feel like lightheaded. It's gonna go. I don't know if I'm gonna make through this video, but I'm gonna do my best. Now, if it ends today, I've said enough to feel comfortable that I say all I need to say. Now, going back to stroke. You see the kids below over there? When I was a kid, I did something to myself. You don't need to, I don't need to go too much in details, but as a child around this age over there, see these 3 kids? Imagine around that age. Mostly like closer to the kid in the middle. 13, 14. Between that one in the middle and this one over there to the right. I did something to myself as a kid that I've never done again. Something to myself. Just understand what I'm saying. But they wish it was more than that. And they try to exaggerate. Try to make me imagine, no, you use her hand, you this and that. Bullshit. This is a falsified version of what I did as a kid at that age. But you see, the people above over there are involved in a program that tortures children. And to reinforce themselves, to hype themselves up like, you pay what you did as a kid. You're going to hear what they do to children. This is what they're involved in. What they deserve to be even associated with what you're going to hear. I'm telling you, even it's somebody who's going to handle them. Because it's nothing worse. That people say, pay for what you did as a kid at that age. When you're going to hear what they do to children. Matter of fact, the testimonials, they're going to use the language of some of what this woman say in her testimonials of how they torture children. She's going to use the word severe when they're severely gasping for air. Listen to this.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered. Even though I had stated that it was time to do more work right before this incident, I quickly just let him play another game, and he quickly returned to his joyful, happy self again. In other sessions, he has also grabbed his crotch and said, "Ow," while looking up at me.
So, this is a child being tortured. There's multiple children, some of them severely tortured. I mean, we talk about severe torture. You know what they say to stop this? It's going to be a knife that's going to shank you. Okay. Yeah. You see, this is not diverging. It's not deflecting. Then I hear a next door neighbor tell me how they're going to they're going to frame me by saying that I raped her. I was like, okay, you're not deflecting from the torture of just children to tell me something that is supposed to take my attention away. These people are involved in what you just heard. They're involved in a program that does that. They are trying to counter reality by any means possible, and some of the things have nothing to do with nothing. Can you imagine? Talk about anything. But that's the tactics, and they're going to stick to that tactic, and I'm going to sound like a prophet because they're going to do that again. So anything I'm off something, they're going to be like, "Oh, you see, you were like that." You was like, "No." I'm glad it actually happened in this situation where I'm really new to it. I mean, this project I've been involved in, and I'm still going to make mistakes, especially in this state. But this is not even, it's me just not being knowledgeable about this project in this program. Sorry, about this project specifically. So I'm okay. But this is the kind of tactic they use. I'm using this specific concept, this specific thing that happens to me to give you a concept. It's part of the gaslighting because you just heard what they're involved in. You understand these people that you see above here are involved in this kind of program. And they're like, no, pay for what you did. You're going to stroke girls, abuse them. You just heard what they do to children, and having to exaggerate what a child that age did to make them feel comfortable to be involved in a program that will do these things to me, but involved in torturing children. The torture of children is not unique to this woman. I mean, they have whole families involved in this torture. Listen to this family. And it's not old stuff in the sense that it's not happening today. It is still happening today. And not too long ago, I found some woman in Milwaukee saying urgent 3-year-old, 19-year-old and mother in the house being targeted with electromagnetic or ELF or something like that. When I was going through some Facebook target individuals, this is everywhere in the country, in the world actually. But in this country, there's a lot of people speaking up, complaining about it the most. And they try to make you think this is anything but this massive government doing that. And they try to paint it as, no, we're different because the way we do things, we're different. And they try to present themselves like, no, look at us, we look like. By the way, for me, the best part of it all is because I know that I became a target individual because my old employer, my actually, I gotta call it what it is, my only real employer I ever had, put me into. These people here, the second I started working for them, they even during the interview process, they let me know that we are perps. We are doing what we need to do to break you down. Matter of fact, on my interview, there was this perp who's an employer of mine, a coworker of mine, bringing up. She doesn't have children. She didn't even bring her own children. She had like a little girl next to her. This daughter of some sister or something like that. A little baby, little toddler. Even me speaking about it right now, they're making me react certain ways. Can you imagine during an interview? Not to sound stupid, because you're going to hear what they can capable of doing. Sexual. You heard Connie say they can make her have sexual stimulations. Yeah, just imagine what they aim it toward. You're going to hear it. In my brain, they try to create perception of this baby. So nasty. Try to give her some. It's just the way my brain has been restructured and rewired and manipulated. It's just disgusting. But let me say this. I'm thankful that I got to see things for what they are and who's truly the threat to children. Besides manipulating the brain in these disgusting ways, they actually torture children. I bring that up a million times because I will never let somebody involved in a program that can do that to children go into the la la land and then suddenly things happen to them and like, I wonder what. You were God, don't you? Weren't you blocking these things that I keep bringing up? You're watching me and you're still watching me die slow and go and but when the door knocks for you for being God's, don't forget I was a prophet. And I'm being comical. I'm not a prophet. I'm just saying the obvious things. Listen to what they do to children.
And have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner's syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured. Recently, I lost complete time. I exhibited the flashing lights. My 9-year-old son Dylan complained about the lights. You will often hear that vision is something that is greatly affected with this type of torture.
So a whole family heard the horrible things, 3-week-old baby. This is not new testimonials. Listen, I don't need to even find more. I can easily find more testimonials of some sort. It's just I don't have the energy to do the same. So I was able to collect enough testimonials when I was not employed, and when I do have more free time of that nature, I will for sure dedicate more time with that. This is more important to me because my health right now is going away. It's funny. One of these persons told me like, "Oh, we ruined you." I was like, "You just ruined yourself." The people who ruined me, as I'm saying that, dry in my mouth. The people who ruined me are the reason why you can't see the name of this man called Roy Moore. You just got incentives from my ruin, and I was ruined before you even got involved in this. TI did 2020. This is before I start working for these people here. So I was done already. Matter of fact, I was close to killing myself at some points. Now you're just going through things to just enjoy whatever incentive you got, of it, financial or not. But you made the mistake. Because forever you'll be associated to this. If you weren't doing this before, if you weren't involved in this program before, and you got involved because I was a way for you to can block out reality and make yourself believe that because you're doing that to me, it's going to be better. Never. Because these perps cannot do any of that unless they are working for this governmental entity, for this program that torture children and women. They're going to try to make themselves grander than what they are. They're really going to, they have no shame. They can say, no, it's our money. It's like, you have, what do you mean? You this is the same. I'm telling you, they have no shame to gaslight you in this nature when you have validated in this level by bringing up something that has nothing to do with anything that's going through, and that is what they can feel validated toward. I wonder, like, because some of these people are very intellectuals, very much intellectuals. To see the dumbing down that they get, and by the way, in my first video about this job, I was like, it's crazy that I'm seeing these people that I would respect at any points, but seeing how dumbed down they become and ignorant they become for the purpose of gaslighting you is just crazy. I couldn't imagine somebody who is to that level, somebody who should be respected, dumbing himself or herself down in this fashion. Oh, that's why I'm so thankful to God, because yes, they do that, and I don't know why they do that. It's because they try to gaslight you. They try to break you down into accepting this. I can only imagine me, who is mentally being broken down to lose touch of reality, able to see this as clear as it is. I wonder, these people who are just very much still functioning, logical people, the level of just damning themselves they have to make themselves be, it's just wow. Because I'm seeing this and like, oh my gosh, are you serious? This is what is going to validate you? You're looking at these kids that go pay now, but somehow able to forget that I know that you torture children? You heard the testimonials of these children being tortured. They're babies, infants. And I'm like, some of these people here have children. They have children. They are grown-ass men with children. And I couldn't imagine myself looking at this kid. It's like, now you pay. Today you pay. When you heard what they do to kids. This person all the way there is like, today's the day you pay. I'm like, wow, what? I'm not even got to the point of women because this is next. One thing that you will have no problem finding out about is what they do to children and women. Sorry, to women specifically. Women are the most expressive. Now, I'm not saying there's more women being tortured than men, but there's a lot more women complaining about it. And when I mean complaining about it, I mean this negative way, as in they are testifying, they're speaking up about it. Thanks to them, we are aware more in what this is going on around the world. I think the reason why there's testimonials is because women are speaking up more than men. Thanks to women, in this program, I was like, I'm not going to kill myself. Look at this woman. This woman is doing everything. Matter of fact, me, I didn't give up, but I'm not trying to find ways to survive. Like, I'm going to do my best to maintain dignity. But death is not something I'm scared of at all. At all. Completely nuts. Matter of fact, I expect to not only deal with death, but horrible things. And I think the more I speak about it, it's going to get worse for me. Because I'm provoking people like them here, trying to maintain this fantasy. And they had this whole fantasy of what this is about. And because the humiliating reality of these people who is much smarter than me, having to dumb themselves. And by the way, when I say much smarter than me, not really, but I'm saying that they are not that dumb. They're not. It's just they're dumbing themselves down, using whatever they can to try to find some kind of falsified peace. And these women help me see things for what they are. Now, it gets so far that even a testimonial of women, which obviously call out. The funny part is like they always think, they want me to think this is this group of femme fatale doing this thing to me. I can't. It's so sad. It's so disgusting to even try to paint this. Obviously, it's not that. Now, they can create all kind of facade. First of all, listen to this woman who's... I'll bring up what she says, first of all. Here is this woman, 2015. I'm already a target individual. Actually, I'm not too far from where she lives at this point. My employer already put me in this program. My employer from her part of the the states. But listen to what she says about what's happening to her.
Worked for the Defense Department. She worked on the global mapping of that system. And when I told her what I was going through, all she could say was, "You're on your own." Well, I figured that out. If you would please, I urge you to pass this. I realize you can't enforce it, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women.
Okay. So, this woman clearly called out a few things that needs to be called out again. She's first of all say the Department of Defense, because obviously the Department of Defense is the entity behind this. And obviously, based on even who she knows, saying that, they've been working on this global network, and her own cousin or whoever family member, who's a she, say, "Oh, you're alone now. You're done." For me, it's just been disgusting how this perps been trying to disorient me and disturb me and try to distance themselves from what this is really about. Now, this woman clearly say the Department of Defense, and she clearly said most of us are defenseless women. These people doing this to me are trying to make me think, you know what, we're not the same entity. We're not this program that is doing these things to women all around the world, to children. We're different. And you know, one of the things they try to do, listen, they think that the more they're going to torture me, the less they involve in the same program that torture women. It's like a frustrated child that wants you to accept this false reality. But the way these people are trying to go about it is like, if we torture you more, then it means we don't torture women and children. That we're not in the same program that torture women and children. The people that I wish I could take picture of, you know, today, when you see like a group of like, I don't know, people that you know they don't live in reality. This is the same people. Now, it's clear that obviously the Department of Defense is doing the same thing to men, women, and children. This is a program led by these governmental entities. It's obvious. You're going to hear validation that they have these tactics, for example, to try to make you believe this is anything but this massive government. It's been disgusting with me to see how they try to present themselves as something else. With me, they've been trying to make me think now we're different. And because you just heard the horror of the torture of children and women. And what they try to be like, now you pay for it today. That's abuse. Try to talk about me as a kid at that age. Them involved in the same program that torture children the ways you heard it. We talk about severely suffocating children. We talk about sexual torturing 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Them involved in that are going to make me pay for me as a kid at that age. Now, to the point of today, it's like, you know what? We're worse than that. And the funny part was this. They're saying that they're worse than the people torturing these children, as a way to make me think that they are not the same people involved in the program that torture women and children. It is the level of clown-like activity that's happening to gaslight me, to make me think this.
So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
So it's clear that it always try to distance themselves from the reality of what this is about. And for me, it's like, no, we're going to even torture you worse than the way we've tortured these children. It's like, oh, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, are you saying that I'm going to be tortured in worse fashion to the way you torture even these babies? You understand that this is how they literally have come to. Because in every way, target individual, we've been validated. The way they gaslight you in now is just as I was recording this, another way they like to gaslight me to try to make me feel like doubtful. They do this thing, they've done it a million times. They do that all the time, matter of fact. It's comical because they do the same thing over and over and over and over. But at some point you get it. You're like, okay, well, they're going to do that so they can do that. For example, I'm looking at something like this calendar. I'm seeing this calendar is missing there of my place. I'm just saying some random things like that because I want you to give you an idea of how they have this like disorienting tactics to confuse you. But they do that so much, so often that you figure it out. It's just like comical. And they do the same thing where, they start making me think, this person is doing that. And this usually, have that happen, this thought towards somebody who's a perp that you already don't trust in the first place because she has proven, or they have proven, that she's a perp. Now, they start making me think about certain things in certain ways. to prove me wrong. So, oh, she's doing this thing with her calendar this way, so it can disorient you and something like that. And you go with it because you don't care. It's like, okay, whatever it is, whatever. You don't care. It's not a factor. She's a perp. That's not going to change anything. Okay. And then you realize, oh, it's because the actual calendar is up over there. You weren't seeing it there at the time, and so they made you have this thing. And it's like, you see, that's proof you thought that. They do this random, weird ways of making you think to prove you wrong at the next time. But it's the same things all the time. It's always the same thing. They have these tactics as part of this disorienting tactic to purposely make you think wrong so they can prove you wrong. It's always like that. I mean, I don't know how these perps are able to deal with the same repetitive tactics. It's like, man, you've heard me say this how many times? Per week, maybe a good 5-6 times? Because you want me to be doubtful. No, first of all, yes, you're right. This person is an obvious perp, but you're making me think this way so you can prove me wrong later. Typical things. And they're like, no, we are this group of, we're different. We don't, no, you're not. You're the same program that torture women and children. You're going to do the same ways or try to gaslight me, which I don't even care about too much about this weird thoughts of this way. Not even weird, like, okay, if she does that, if she's doing this for that's it's not going to do anything to me. Like, it doesn't. And yes, you torture babies, you torture women, and yes, you create this facade and try to make you believe anything but this massive government is doing that. That's been doing that to men, women, and children, causing mass shooting, doing horrible things. As I'm saying that, to disorient me from being able to put things in the perspective that needs to be put in, I keep hearing these perps who tell me how I raped her. And she's a child. She sounds like a child at least. Because at the end of the day, the things they do is so systematic. You will probably hear me say this again. As I'm saying that, because it's true that I'm going to say that again. Somebody tells me, kill myself as a way to disorient me because it's obvious they do the same thing over and over. Okay. I just want to make sure that you heard this woman talk about the Department of Defense. Just an idea of what they do to women. Listen to her testimony, and I'm going to bring more testimonies of what they do to women.
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, how do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, you're mentally sound as a bell. He said, I don't have any idea what's going on with you. When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock up my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
Okay. You just heard what this woman goes through. I was hearing this woman or this perp saying, "Oh, they're being patient because my body is breaking down. My body is breaking down. This is why I make so many videos. My body, my brain, everything. I'm gonna lose it. I can feel myself fading away. But before that happens, I'll make sure they're blessed. And I'm glad they're patient because these perps don't understand something. Or they try not to understand that I do want them to dedicate more time to this. I do want them to spend so much time on this. I want them to be this gaslighting, low-life bottom feeders. This character tell me how smart. You're smart, huh? I'm like, really? Can you imagine me living life like this? That's the kind of things I've been told to I guess insult me. Like, can you imagine I'm here just to mock some? Oh, you're so smart, huh? This is how the sound. You're smart. No, you're the genius. You're the genius dedicating this. And I want them to be patient and continuously live life watching somebody break down. Because we know that perhaps days will come where they break down. But I'm just thankful. Target individual. One thing I ask you to always be is thankful, because you could be like them. I couldn't imagine myself being a grown man or anybody who respects themselves. Not even a grown, even somebody who, if I have a sense of self-respect, and be like, you're smart, huh? You're so smart. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, don't you recognize how weird it is that when you act like this? No, I'm an idiot and you're God. No, these perps have made me feel so smart. They've made me a genius, damn near. Because they dumb themselves down to this level. And these perps here, you see there, are just actually people who are much smarter. Now, these perps around me that I can hear, I don't know about them. Some of them are really childlike. They look the sun. Some of them are like on the spectrum. Like, they're kids. And in my brain, I try to come down. Some of them are literally sound like children. Like teenage kids or some sort. Or barely adults. And be like, oh, you're smart, huh? You're so smart. It's like, if you're like this, if this is not something a character that you play, and you're a person who can say these things and don't feel weird about acting this way, that you don't feel a little weird acting this childish, I pray that they continue to be patient and they continue to live life like this. But I understand they have to block our reality. Target individual, listen to what they do to women. Or at least what a lot of women have been complaining about.
You talk to the victims, the TIs, one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
So you hear what they do to women. And not only to women, but women are complaining about it the most. That rape is such a common thing they do. You know, to compensate with that, I'm telling you, the things that they wanted to present themselves as this like group of like feminists protecting them. If you involve yourself in this thing that can do these things to women, you obviously have a strong ability to block out reality. Especially when you try to present yourself as this feminist. They tell me how I'm going to be raped by 6 men, this and that. I'm like, listen, first of all, I got to say thank you to God that I did not find myself being involved in any program that can do these things to women. You're going to hear the horrible things they do to women. If they think whatever torture I'm going to go through is going to stop the reality that they involved in a program where rape is such a common thing that this men calls it this extremely common tactic of breaking down people, and women are complaining about it the most. But think that I'm sorry, whatever horrible things I'm going to take, I'm telling you, it's not free. First of all, I can look at these people for what they are. In my mind, they would even try to say, no, you take pay for it. Listen, they even talk about women that they would destroy. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you're going to hear the testimonies of women. This woman literally say, most of us are defenseless women. It means that she knows of other women going through what she's going through. Of course, I know that too. Can you imagine you are here involved in a program that does these things to women, but somehow I'm supposed to look at you as this avenger of women? So that you're doing it for, and I brought this woman all the time, and now you involved in this. And to counter the reality that you're involved in this, you tell me I'm going to be raped by 6. Okay, I'd rather be raped by a million people, whatever. Then being associated, anything close to what this man said, or what this woman have said, they were still trying to make me think that they're like, oh, this is some like. They even try to make me think this is the organized crime mafia. I was like, listen, if you, looking at you, can be involved in this program, anybody can. Now, of course, I know you yourself are not the entity doing that to me. Just like if there's some mafia people involved, of course, if you look at you involved in this, who cannot be involved in this? But of course, I know who's behind this. That these governmental entities are doing this thing to us, target individual. This helicopter sometimes flying, which I believe is because of trying to create some kind of psychosis on my end. Do I think that this is the mafia? Of course, I know it's not that. Now, it doesn't mean some organized crime cannot be involved in that. Of course, if some everyday citizen can do that, what do you think some crime people can do? Matter of fact, to me, I don't even look at them and say, okay, they're just participant. They're just perps. Matter of fact, how I knew something. I knew there was something. I knew that this is obviously governmental entities, because there's this structure of things they can do and freely say. Matter of fact, it makes them even feel nervous. I've said something like Roy Moore. This is a man that has, for me, the reason why I put so much importance in his name. He's not that important person, but these people cannot say his name without saying in ways. For example, let me just say this again. Roy Moore. I'm waiting for them to say it. They're not going to say it while I can hear them say it. But they can say it in ways that I'm not sure if they say it or not. Now, I've said that name in front of somebody who looks very scary. He was looking at me in just a very menacing way, and I say Roy Moore. I swear to God, it sounded like I said the name of some like ghost that's gonna come and get him. He started looking away. This is some scary person. Let me repeat that. And this is how I like to put them back on their position. Roy Moore cannot be said without saying it in very, very subtle, not even subtle, hidden way, where you're not even sure if they say it or not. And the sad part is, this is a man that people make fun of how disgusting he was, in the sense that when he was an assistant DA, he was banned from the YMCA for picking up kids at the YMCA. He was banned from, and this whole set of comedy about him. And to see these people cannot even say this name, and how easily people are making fun of this man, just shows the reality of things. Now, obviously, I know that it's because there's some kind of restriction. I don't know why I can talk about the details, because I don't know the details of why they're so nervous about saying his name. But in fact, not even me saying his name makes them nervous. And when they try to be brave, they're going to say it in a very special way where you don't know if they said it or not. And it's not mistakeful, because we're talking about Roy Moore. I'm pausing just to see maybe they're going to say it. Sounds like they're not going to say it. Okay. Now, it's obvious the government is running this program. With me, they're still trying to paint this fantasy of reality. I will not let them do that. I will not. Be okay involved in a program run by governmental entities that does that to men, women, and children. But I'm not going to let you block out anything. I'm going to put that mirror and make sure you see yourself for the coward, low-life, opportunist shit that you are. That even willing to be involved in a program where babies are being tortured because you are enjoying these incentives, and then have the audacity to try to make yourself some kind of femme fatale, fierce, whatever bullshit. At one point, they would tell me, no, we support this woman that they torture. I was like, okay. You involved in a program that torture women, and then you... I know what I'm going to go through it because these governmental entities are powerful entities. We talk about the Department of Defense and why the governmental entities are doing that to me. Simply, you heard what this Catherine Nestor said on this bioethic meeting. She said, my young child and I are being used as test subject. That's the word here. Test subjects. That's what we are. That's why you heard this woman say the DOD has been working on this global network. And I was put in this program. You heard this man say, this government, we're not there yet. You're going to listen to when he calls out, this is weapon development. They need human subjects. And they're testing out the different tactics. Using these technologies, they have created these matrices of what deceptions, scripts, and the trickery of all sorts to see what works. So target individual, like that man said, they're going to make you think that it's this and that, the Russian mafia, the Russian government, the Chinese government, the satanic cults. No, it's the government doing that. Now, can somebody in a satanic cult be involved in this? Yes. Can somebody in some kind of crime organization be involved in that? Of course. If your coworkers can be participants, who else can? So I'm going to go through hell, but I understand the reason why I'm going through hell is because I'm in this program that even torture women and children. This shit that will try to create this facade, we're seen for what they are. They can play the characters, speak in different tonality. I understand. Say Roy Moore in my face. Say. Don't say it before I say it, before I know you're saying that. You can't. Let me say that I always give a second chance. Say Roy Moore. Yes. And by the way, very, very unmystic individual. There's a whole sketch of him, of Roy Moore. He's making fun of him. That's how pathetic it is. But they're saying they say this man's name as if it's this mystical, blasphemous name to not say. Matter of fact, let me just show you how easy and fun this person. How much they make fun of this person. Listen to this. Listen to this person making fun of Roy Moore. I'm giving another chance to hear if this perps are going to be able to say it. Let me repeat that. Roy Moore. This is the name that they have issue saying it in a clear way.
Go a food courtin'. To the mall to get into the holiday spirit. One woman recalls that she was 14 and working as Santa's helper at the Gadsden Mall in 1977 when Moore first spoke to her and told her she would look pretty. 2 years later, when she was 16, he asked her out on dates. He hit on one of Santa's elves. Well, a true evangelical, he's putting the Christ back in Christmas. Wow. And it wasn't just the mall, folks. One Alabama journalist claims that Moore was also banned from the YMCA for his inappropriate behavior as soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA.
First name Roy, last name Moore. Roy Moore. This name, for some reason, you heard how they're making fun of this man. Can you imagine trying to create this mystique? Speaking this tone of voice, now you pay. And me saying, say Roy Moore. Let me give you another chance. Say Roy Moore. Exactly. That's how it goes. It's so pathetic. But to me, I'm so thankful because things like that makes me understand what they truly are. These very menacing individuals can be scared of this man. These clowns here who call themselves gods and everything else won't say his name in a way that I can clearly hear them. Do you hear what this Stephen Colbert make fun of? Making dances and everything. Well, this trash out here tell me kill yourself because they don't want to say his name. And they can't say his name in this openly way. This is another refresher of reality that they want to escape from. I will make sure I bring that in their faces till my last breath. And by the way, they'll tell me how they're going to set me up with some of these children here who can't say Roy Moore, being groomed to not say this name unless they say it in this other way. This man that picked up kids the same age of these kids are now here trying to framing me, saying that this is magical. And I know they usually say, oh, it's not fair. It's like, it's absolutely fair because this helps me put things in perspective. It puts things in perspective. Those are the people here who trying to make you accept this falsified reality that they make me experience. But anyways, going back to women being tortured and raped, and them try to compensate with the fact they're involved in a program where rape is such a commonly thing that this man calls it extremely common. Listen to this woman. Listen to this woman talk about her horrible torments and rapes. I bring that up the most. Mariana is a blessing to me. That woman truly changed things for me. Her testimony made me grab I bought a bunch of sleeping pills because I was like, I don't want to, I'd rather die than have these people manipulate my brain this way and condition me this way. I grabbed my sleeping pills, put it in the garbage immediately, and you're gonna hear a few reasons why. For one, she made it clear that this thing they do is not unique to me. We're gonna bring the psychological torment that is so common, but the way she described it changed my language on how I describe what they do to me, what they do to me. Now listen to what they do to her sexually, which is what this man said about this sexual torture women go through.
Perverted, involving many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body, and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly.
So you hear that? I mean, there's a lot of you heard electrocuting the genitals, the rectum, the sexual torture, terrible. And you know how they're gonna compensate? Be involved in a program that sexual torture women this way? They're gonna have me raped by 6 men. There's like a million men. God give me strength for all this torture, but man is not gonna erase what you're involved in. I know I've been mean in the sense that I didn't let you live your fantasy, and your rage is gonna be indicative of it. Oh, it's okay. I have a purpose. If my purpose comes with this horrible pain, it's okay. Because it's not free. Already, some people you see here are going through certain things. Already. And now the extreme level hasn't got there. It's going to get there. These people are patiently waiting for it, which I'm like, please do. Because one thing you don't know about, I'm going to be a prophet again. Your time is limited. I'm a prophet. What I'm trying to say is, I want them to do nothing but live this life. I want them to live this life as long as they can. They involve in this. You heard what they do to babies, infants, 3-week-old. There is nothing, no torture that can block this reality. They tell me their monster's waiting. Okay, God give me strength. Their monster is gonna hurt me, but let them live this long life of doing that, and watch how things come back. This is what this woman, who's much better than me, says about them, how she prays for them. Listen to this testimony. See how sad it is, this trash. Listen to that.
iPad, your laptop, and they make sure to kind of throw whatever you're doing, whether it's your text messages or whatever you may be doing on your device, they kind of play that back for you by using perps to kind of talk about it or mention it some kind of way or do some kind of action in front of you as to let you know that they saw what you were doing or they heard what you were doing. And this is on a constant basis. This is obsessive behavior. It's all the time. It consumes every part of your life, your work life, people at your job is involved, your family members are involved, your friends. Your home life gets interrupted. You have no privacy, like whatsoever. Your social life is ruined because you start to feel like you can't trust anybody because it seems like somebody just put some kind of spotlight on you and that everybody is not really conspiring to get you. It's more of trying to drive you crazy. It's more of a psychological and emotional attack than anything. And this is the first time that we've spoken out about it, only because I've been seeing a lot of other videos. And I think that it helps to talk about, what's going on, because you may be able to prevent someone else from making the same mistakes that you made. And we made a lot of mistakes. We called the police. That was no help. We left our home. We quit jobs because of it. We've cut friends off because of it. We've cut family members off. The only way to really get through something like this is to be able to vent and to do as much research as possible. For other people that are experiencing this, that are targeted individuals, I would suggest that you start documenting as much as you can, start videotaping, recording as much as you can, because the thing that promotes this is that you can't prove it and that these people can stay hidden. And that's why it lasts for so long. I'm seeing people that have been going through it since 2005, and they can't seem to get it to stop. But it's because they make sure you can't pinpoint one person. It's everybody. It's all the time, and so it discredits your character and your state of mind, which, starts to make everybody believe something's wrong with you. And then you start believing something's wrong with you. But it's not you. And you know that it's not you. It's just hard to prove. But don't go get, mental health help. Don't see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Most of the time, they're involved too. Your police are involved, your firemen, ambulance, people at hospitals, they're all involved. And it's unfortunate that we live in a society that gets a kick out of doing people like that. But it is what it is. The only thing you can do is stay strong and focus on the people you love. I was lucky enough to have my mother, who was going through the same thing that I was going through. They started saying all kind of crazy stuff to her at her jobs, and it really starts to wear you down after a while. You really start to feel like you've had enough. Everything that used to feel real all of a sudden feels manipulated. The things that used to be easy are difficult. You know, going to work is hard. Going outside is hard. Going to the store is hard. You know, getting online is hard. Sending text messages. Everything becomes difficult. Everything becomes intense. And I didn't know things like that were happening to people. And it wasn't until somebody brought it to my attention that it is called community stalking, organized stalking, gang stalking, cause stalking. It's a lot of different words and terms for it, but it's all the same thing. It's all, you know, groups of people that are deliberately targeting you, trying to drive you out of your mind. That's the bottom line. People never really find out who's doing it. People never really find out why they're doing it to them, or if it'll ever end, you know. So for people that are out there, all I can tell you is to hold on, and believe that one day it'll be over. It's been a while for us. It'll be 4 years pretty soon, and my birthday is coming up, and this will be my 4th birthday involved in gang stalking, and it's exhausting. And to the people that are doing it, I kind of feel bad for you. It seems like you're trying to fill a void, and you're using this type of behavior because something's missing in your life. And maybe you find it through other people, maybe you find it through me and my mom, but there is no good reason to treat somebody like this. There is no justification. There is no excuse for this type of behavior. When you break in and you take people's lingerie out the house, when you go into their house and you deliberately put somebody in their clothes and make sure that person walks past them so that I can see that they're wearing my dress or my clothes, or, I can't think of a reason to do that to anybody. And the fact that you're able to wake up in the morning and put your energy towards psychologically attacking two females says that something's missing, or something happened to you that you haven't been able to process. So I do pray for you. I hope that one day you'll get to the point where you get tired of this, or you decide to stop.
You hear this sad story of this woman. I mean, at least she's not going through V2K, but the gaslighting tactics of what she says can be so crazy. I had some of what she said where, for example, I'll play a song in my apartment and I'll go somewhere and this guy would just look at me and turn on the same song I was listening to. Do things like that. And makes you very paranoid. I thought somebody was, they would do things to try to make me nervous. I remember somebody just laying a mouse, but I have roommates and things like that. So they would do things. But can you imagine being a woman with your mother, two defenseless women, and they do these things? Can you imagine the psychological breakdown? That could even be worse, I think, because like that when she said that there was still underwears, can you imagine as a woman you see some underwear missing just to mess with you? I mean, with me, I wouldn't care. It's like, oh, okay, somebody stole. But my point is, they involved in this. Now, of course, I know better than nobody's just out here psychologically breaking her down just for the sake of breaking her down. You know the amount of effort and amount of money and resources they need to. There's a purpose behind it. There's a purpose that is incentivized. But this woman is a good person to the point where she prays for the people involved in this to stop, to want to find an end to that. Not for her to stop for their own sake. I was like, no. Me, I'm like, continue. Because I know what it means to be involved in that. It means you lose dignity. You lose your respect. You're an opportunist who feels special doing these things. I'd rather be a nothing than whatever you think you are now. These people are involved in this kind of things that would torment women. Can you imagine how mean it is, as they said? To break down a woman in this way. You know, I when she said this thing, I just can't imagine. This is so breaking down. I wonder if like V2K is bad for me and for many, because your brain is rewired, you're being destroyed. But at the same time, it takes away fear, because you understood how advanced things are. So things as in somebody comes in and puts something, it doesn't even faze you anymore. Gaslighting, gang stalking doesn't even faze you anymore. But when you didn't experience that, because I did experience that before V2K, it is disorienting. It is tormenting. It makes life hard in different ways. Just the not knowing what's going on is in its own can be very, very breaking down. Very psychological breakdown. But this woman is a strong woman for being able to pray for these people who this low life. I'm sorry, I'm not that good. I'm not this, I just pray for this life to continue to live this life. Let them watch more people die. Especially if you're going through something, please go ahead. I see these perps truly for what they're involved in. Listen, none of us are perfect. But in life, there's things that you do that is not coming back from. And this trash involved in this are involved in that. On top of that, being involved in what you just heard about this woman going through, they involved in the same program. There's a purpose they're torturing this woman this way. This psychological torture. There's a purpose. So you think random people are just following her every day just to break her down? Like, torment her in this way for fun? Do you understand the amount of resources and labor and it takes for somebody to always be on somebody? There's obviously something behind that's obviously incentivized. And this thing is this, we are just this test subjects, which they're using us and looking at the different tactics of torments that function. So, I'm not like this woman. I don't pray for them to stop what they do. I want them to continue to fill that void this way. Watch how things go. Now, should we continue more testimonials of women being tortured? Listen to this woman.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Crawford. I'm here from the state of Michigan. I wanted to speak about biotechnology applications being utilized on my person. I have medical reports showing eye damage being done to my eyes. My eyes does not have a mirror image. I also have nanowiring inside my eyes. I have pictures of the actual implants from the eye doctor. Once enlarging the nano implants, you will see a copy of the actual particles in my eyes. I have CAT scans, MRIs, and PETs showing wiring, nanowiring in my head. This is my brain. It's straight from the right side to the left side of my head. I also have implants in my chin, in the chin region on both sides. One side shows a wire, the other side shows the actual implant. Implant particle devices coming down through here. Projectiles of the nanoparticles on the side of my head. Enlarged pictures. These crimes is happening in America. This is a domestic problem, not only international. The victims is not being just victimized individually. We are being victimized and our family members as well. Gang stalking tactics and harassment was utilized to implement us into this program unconsensually.
Leslie, I think your comments reinforce much of what we've heard. And if you don't mind, I'd like to make room for others at the microphone now, since it seems to be reinforcing. Juan, I'd ask you to pick somebody, this gentleman right here. Yeah.
She's been waiting.
I'm sorry, who's been waiting? Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, my name is Eugenia Durden.
I'm sorry, Eugenia?
Eugenia Durden, yes. Everything I've heard from this commission and this panel about ethics, they were mostly talk about pharmaceuticals research, but I haven't heard anyone talking about a psychotronic weapon research or bioelectromagnetic weapon research. Who in this panel are familiar with the psychotronic weapon? Raise your hand, please. Who of you know about psychotronic weapons? Any one of you? Psychotronic bioelectromagnetic weapons. Are you familiar with that?
Not at all.
No? Okay. In this audience, is anybody familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Okay. Okay, the audience is familiar with that, and I think that in order for a panel or a commission to be able to help this problem and this issue, we'll have to have more knowledge on what psychotronic weapons are. I am physically leashed from my neck to the electromagnetic power of one of the weapons that is being used against me. I get tortured day and night. At night it's with nightmares and all kinds of dreams that I don't want in my head. And throughout the day is my body. They prod with my neurological system, so they do anything to my body. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up. Sometimes I feel I'm going to have a heart attack. They do all kinds of things like jitter, pulsating with the electromagnetic frequencies. They use a program called virtual reality that makes them feel that they are right in there in front of you. And as you know, electricity travels as fast as the light. And you know how fast that travels, right? How fast does it travel? Anybody?
186,000 miles a second.
Very good.
Yes.
86.
I tell you what, though, we do need to hear them here.
So I would appreciate if you get more aware and read. There's in the internet. There's all kinds of information now on psychotronic weapons, so that you will probably be able to help us after you have a better knowledge of what these weapons are and what these weapons do. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your.
Mr. Brian Wrong. Miss Anya Briggs.
My name is Anya Briggs, and I am a private citizen and resident of New York City. I have been and continue to be experimented on against my will and without my permission as a human test subject and as a targeted individual forced into trauma-based mind control programs. Because of this ongoing experimentation, torture, and abuse since 2008 and before, I have endured the following physical and psychological symptoms: extreme, debilitating, and chronic fatigue, weakness, and dizziness for days and weeks at a time, lack of motor control, as well as the sensation of being physically controlled by an unseen force. My left arm occasionally experiences pain and discomfort from an object of unknown origin moving under my skin and being activated somehow. I have an unusual dental filling of unknown origin on the side of one of my back upper right teeth and no memory of having this procedure done. And I have x-ray printouts and a signed affidavit from my dentist stating this. Said dental filling causes me sharp pain, discomfort, and sensitivity. I have experienced extreme itching, burning, and pain in my right leg that turned into an intense bright pink and then disappeared completely after several minutes, and I have photographs of this happening in real time. I have had a stretched uterus, and yet I have never consciously, and to my knowledge, been pregnant. I have had equidistant sores that have appeared on both of my subscapularis muscles at the same time. I have been drugged. I've been abducted from my home. I've had guns pointed at my head. I've had death threats. And much, much worse, believe it or not, by being in these programs and experiments. The after effects of this have made me socially avoidant most days, and it is extremely hard to establish relationships with people I can trust as a result of these abominations, and I thank the committee for hearing my statement.
In a way, I'm very sorry to address you like this because I think that what you're doing is very admirable. But I'm here to represent this other group, and I am also targeted, and this is my story. My name is Sandra Fields. I'm an architect, recipient of Who's Who of Women in America Achievement Award, and have run a successful business for over 28 years. My life and livelihood have been compromised for the last 11 years by being attacked by electromagnetic radiation torture and by organized stalking. I cannot live in my rent-stabilized apartment in New York City as a result of this torture. I'm currently staying in motels and friends' houses in the last year. Thousands of Americans are currently suffering from chemical, electromagnetic, psychological, and physical torture with no government relief or laws. Our servicemen, prisoners, and thousands of unknowing, innocent civilians are currently being lamed, tormented, and tortured as a result of military research.
Is that Mr. Juan Chuck back here will be, and the plan is that to be looking at bioethical issues generated by novel and emerging research in biomedicine and related areas of science and technology, and to promote policies and practices that assure ethical responsibility. And remind you that the specific charge on this meeting has been around looking at on the topic of federal standards regarding human subjects research. So with that background, and the amount of each person I believe has a minute and a half is the way we've been able to try to cram in as many comments as possible. So, Juan, if you're ready for the first.
Ms. Cassandra Lewis.
Hi, Ms. Lewis.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra Lewis, and I'm a targeted individual from Baltimore, Maryland. My story may sound disjointed. I'm trying to keep it within the minute and a half. I worked as a legal secretary at Hogan & Hartson in Washington, D.C. It is now called Hogan Lovells. Attorney Jan McDavid made a client mistake that she tried to blame on me. I then refused to work for Ms. McDavid. Shortly thereafter, strange and inexplicable events occurred on my job, and after being fired, followed me to my home and to all my travels. Attorney Christopher J. Hagan, formerly of Hogan & Hartson, Mr. Samuel Conrad, he's a retired security administrator of Hogan & Hartson, and Robert Johnston, who is the current firm administrator of Hogan Lovells, are responsible for my targeting. I believe to protect Ms. McDavid's reputation, a phone call was made to whom and why they did this to me. I truly just speculate. Gang stalking and harassment was used to implement this non-consensual biotechnology application that is being used on me. I now experience involuntary limb movements. I receive stingings. I get pains to my head, to my abdomen, to my vaginal area, and to my anal area. I am receiving from a language that I read concerning this technology.
Professor McCoy at the University of
I'm going to refer to a paper from Professor McCoy at the University of Wisconsin on no-touch torture. He talks about a total assault on all senses and sensibilities: auditory, visual, tactile, temporal, temperature, and survival, refined through years of practice. Sensory disorientation relies on a mix of sensory overload and sensory deprivation via banal procedures: isolation, then intense interrogation, heat and cold, light and dark, noise and silence, for a systematic attack on all human stimuli. I've been a human subject for experimentation for almost 2 years, and I've contacted Dr. Hall. I stand with a very large group. Excuse me, I'm very nervous, but I'm very tired of having my rights taken away. And thank you for hearing me, and thank you.
Anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth, and forced eyeball movements, and phantom touch sensations, doing rubbing sensations, etc.
Okay, now if this is not clear that these people are this kind of level of trashiness, or this program does these things to women, and they still try to present this facade, I can't. You know, whatever horrible things I'm going to go through, they tell me how they're going to take my money, steal my money, I'm going to lose my money, I'm going to be sued, but whatever it goes, I understand it's not unique to me. Matter of fact, this woman says the same thing. But you heard the horrible things they do. And I'm thankful to God that never will be associated with anything that does that to women and children. They're trying to bring on whatever they can to try to counter this. You heard the horrible things they do. I pray that they live life nothing but doing that. Nothing. That they'll always be tied and associating to these things. Let that be the things that make them feel special, that fill that void. I understand why these people feel empowered, but they sold something to... It came at a price already. And I want them to continue to pay that price. Because this is what they're associating to. Regardless of how you look at me, whatever you try to present, I will see you for being involved in this. Oh, by the way, with me, for some reason they think the gender, the way they appear, changes reality. Listen to this.
But I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, just shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said that's going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, just shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice to Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's something wrong with them, basically.
So the reason why I bring that up is because with me, you have this, how do we call them, this female gender individual, as you can see here. And they think that because they involved in this, they've created this fantasy that they are this avenging group of strong feminists, of women or female, that when they do this, when they involve themselves in this program, it's different. First of all, this is provoking to them. This is something they like to say, oh, my bad. Oh, so disgusting. The thing is, they say my bad because they're trying to bring up, I think, this person called Brittany. And the truth is, I remember saying, apologizing, and they try to make it the most like simplistic way to apologize. And make it seem like, oh, she remember for Brittany? I'm like, Brittany, just to provoke them once again, I made sure that I talked to this woman and she tells me how her life is good. She's living her best life with her family. That this trash involved in the program that rapes women and destroys their life. Destroys their life. Let me just bring up a little bit. Just when I say destroyed, please listen to what this woman says. Just because I want to make sure that they understand what I see them as. Listen to the destruction they describe here. Let me just bring this quick snippet.
Hurt me. I have been a victim since 2007. You can't see this horrific electric hitting you. Electric is invisible. You take a remote control to turn your TV. You can't see it. Turn your television. It hurts so bad. I want to thank you for opening your minds and your time today. I am a retired legal investigator. I have asked all my friends, I had very prominent friends, to help me. We can't do anything about this. It is way, way over our heads. It's like they say it's the shadow government. It is people that cannot be touched. Please help us. Kim, the next speaker. Buckner, and I have been a targeted individual for a very long time. The things I have experienced due to being targeted, they have been unreal. But however, I can personally attest that this is very real indeed. My life has been destroyed in every possible way, and every day has been a struggle for me. I am very grateful to be before you today due to Amy Anderson's due diligence and to everyone else involved. I thank you, council members, for giving us targeted individuals a chance to speak and to be heard. And I pray that these atrocities will soon be brought to an end. But we need your help. Thank you.
I just wanted to bring up. So these people try to be acting like they're avenging, say, oh, my bad. And try to make me think, oh, we're doing it for what you did to Britney. I was like, first of all, Britney is living her life. You're just using her to try to counter the reality of what you're involved in. What you're involved in is causing destruction of not only men but women, and those are atrocities, as you called it. Then try to find ways to sound like, oh wow, you are here paying back, we're avenging you. I'm sorry, I get angry because I know what these people are connected to. I know the reason why this is happening to me, and for these perps, regardless of who they are, for them to be able to do that to me, they have to be involved in the program. That's what you just heard. And them try to be like, pay for it. First of all, they are here doing these horrible things. They pretend that they're doing it for Britney. I'm like, Britney is out here. You want to see a message of her? Leaving her. I'd purposely send a message to her, knowing that, she's living her life. Oh, she's telling me she's living her best life. Can you imagine people involved in a program that torture women to the point where you hear this woman say, it hurts so bad. Other women saying this, I'm going through struggling my life. I'm struggling. I'm going through atrocities. No, this is just too foul. And then these people try to play this feminism. Like, oh yes, I know your bad is that. This is your bad here. What you just heard is your bad. And that now we ruin your life. You cannot ruin my life unless you're involved in this program that ruin life of women and children. Never. Never. Now, that is what you just heard when it comes to just what they do to women. Children. Psychologically, they want you to accept the manipulations. You heard what they do to women and children. Now, the way they want me to identify with this manipulation is just clown. It's pure comical. You know the humiliating reality that they have to block out every day? What's provoking to them? Why they're like, oh, patient. The day will come when I start screaming. Okay. Let me speak now before I scream to the point where I can make this video. And I want you I do want you to be patient. Because I do want you to dedicate more time in this, what you just heard. So you have this connected with you for the rest of your life. I pray for them to live life doing these things. You cannot connect to yourself to anything that does these things, these horrible things, these atrocities, and try to make you believe that somehow now you are avenging. You want to see Brittany? You want to see the message? You who's avenging, involved in a program that does this, you low-life clown, you're just using her to make yourself to believe that you're some kind of avenger. Nobody asked. No, her life she's living her best life, trust me. You involved in this program that destroys this poor woman's life. Then you're, oh, my bad. Trash. That's what they deserve. You know, everything was, they try to paint but this is just what they're involved in. I'm here to ensure that they always connect to reality. Okay. Now let's go to the psychological manipulation. These big bioethic meetings that you heard in 2011, this man came and said these things. Listen to him.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the president, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City, alluding to the same thing.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hull?
Interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG, and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions, for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodining or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodining and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodining would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
And so this gets into what's called there are
four different techniques. There are four different techniques and technologies that can pipe voices into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War to tell the enemy at that time, lay down your guns, this is Allah. And it worked pretty well, because hearing voices which have no direction or sound, you have to assume that it's some spiritual entity. So it works pretty well. And then, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but there's something called hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't believe that. Oh, you can't control me. I have my own free will. There's no way you can get to my soul. Well, sorry, that's not true.
Okay. Now, this is quite specific. At first, you heard this Dr. Hall talking about him talking to thousands of target individuals all around the country, saying the same thing. And this is obviously some kind of cognitive manipulation, controlled manipulation, some kind of behavior control of some sort. Then you hear him talk about EEG cloning, EEG Hederodining, and what is the difference between each. And basically, the ability to capture the neural network, manipulate it, not only monitor, but manipulate it, and then put it back in the brain to make you experience the design reaction or emotion that they want you to experience. Then you hear this man talk about, as a matter of fact, he was saying that he said four different tactics to pipe in voices into your brain. And when they do that, they are rewiring your thought process and rewiring your brain. And you hear that they use different test subjects from all around the world, different cultures, and create these matrices of what trickeries and deceptive tactics in regard of what will get to the target, the victim, into walking them to their death. By the way, as I said, the four different tactics, they're like four. Remember what you did as a kid. Because they want me to think of four and think about me as a child doing whatever thing I did to myself as a child. As you can see, this is the age I'm talking about in front of you. Well, you just clearly heard what they do to actual children what they actually do to children that are 4-year-old with Down syndrome. They somehow want to decouple reality. But on top of that, they want me to think of them as these Avengers, when they literally involved in a program where children as young as 4 years old are being sexually tortured. And the children that you heard earlier were only 4 years old, but also had Down syndrome. And of course, you heard the infants and all the rest of the babies that they tortured. It's so nasty. In my perps here, I don't know. It takes a lot of distancing from reality. I don't know how they're able to manage to dumb themselves. Like, it must be a skill to block out reality to this extent. And I'm not making it easy for them. I'm not. Because they're trying to block the fact that they torment people. They rewire the thought process. Because it validates me. Because when they make me experience whatever I experience, when I see babies, you know what they say? No, what we do is we make you think the way you were once thinking when you were a child. We are reconstructing your thought process to you as a child. No, you're just reconstructing my thought process. And what does it doesn't even make sense. literally imagine they start making you think the way a child think, or make you think the way you thought when you were a child. Basically, you're saying you're making me mentally retarded. Of course, it's not true, but they are manipulating my thought process, and the thought process is disturbed, like manipulating in a disturbing way. It's obvious. By the way, do you have an idea of since when they've been working on technology that can manipulate thought process? Please listen to this. There's a project called DARPA in the 60s already started working on, and this is officially, this is what was on paper, like what was tracked. It was tracked that, and what is known to us civilians in the mainstream, that in the 60s there was a project called Project Pandora, where the no DoD only, but DARPA, which at the time was called ARPA, was using electromagnetic frequencies, radiation, to see if they can alter the mind. In the 60s. You know what? You heard this before, but please understand that this is a kind of validation that are just surreal. Listen to this.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora.
So, it's obvious those entities are behind it. Now, when I see these perps, I know they're just bottom feeders in that, obviously. I understand that this kind of technology is not coming from this individual, my employers or whoever, my neighbors, or like they are employed in one way or another. If it's a contraction, but it's obviously not coming from there, in the sense that they are the one owning this technology, that they're the one coming up with these tactics, and obviously they're not the one running this show. Now, whatever psyop and facade they try to present, obviously is going to be that, the psyop and facade. But obviously, if DARPA, a DoD entity, was working on altering the mind since the 60s, you have an idea where this is coming from. Okay. Now, when it comes to this pedophilia type of torture, why am I calling it pedophilia type of torture? Well, because they do this nasty manipulation when they make you react in this certain way toward children. But why did I come up with this name in this way? Well, because this woman said the same thing, and she came up with this terminology, which I'll use over and over again. Listen to this.
What is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of...
Now, when you hear me say the pedophilia type of torture, know that this is where it came from. Know that this is where I got the lingo from, the language from, the verbiage from. This woman called it that, and it made sense. But this technology, these tactics, which consist of pedophilia, torment of some sort, is not unique to me or her. Listen to this. This man who interviewed a bunch of target individuals came up with like a list of things they do to torment target individual. And listen to what's on the list. Actually, it was number 6 on the list. Listen to that.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
You just heard the last portion. Almost all target individuals are forced to see child pornography in their minds. This is an indication of how they will rewire your thought process. Listen to this testimony from Jackie. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but listen to what she says.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like, this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't.
To see every night. Then that strange sensation continued to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing. And then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals.
Now, it's getting obvious that there's this systematic tactic that utilized to break people down. And it is always tormenting and disturbing when they use this technology to rewire your thought process. I think just to bring this again, this man here brings up why would these things come up? Why would they use these tactics? But listen to him speaking up about it.
My guess that this person developed delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
cognitive warfare.
Exactly, it's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds,
personalities.
And it's like
you just heard at the end, alter the mind, personality rebuild. So they're changing your personality. They're rebuilding in a different fashion. It's no longer your personality. And in my mind, it's like, no, we're just rebuilding your personality when you were a kid. Can you imagine the retardation? And altering the mind. And by the way, as they were trying to make me think of some kid over there, they're positioning this kid so when I see this kid, they can do this manipulation. I heard this person say, "Oh, a raper is gonna rape you." I was like, "Oh, I'd rather get raped than do what you do. You trash, low life." And I will never identify with this manipulation. Matter of fact, this pedophilia type of torture is disgusting. It's disturbing. But to find out this entities coming up with these tactics actually have issues that are so disgusting. But it's good. It's good for me to know these things because I can look at them for the foul, low life that they are. That the entities empowering this trash to try to counter you. They are the nastiness that they are implanting in our brain. Listen to this.
To Child Pornography Watchdog, Internet Crimes Against Children, Child Online Protective Services. The Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranked 19th of nearly 3,000 networks surveyed in 2018.
Limitation on access. Those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this, it shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing it.
To further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers.
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an...
In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general evil?
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their...
I mean, there was a bill created because of so much pedophilia issues in these entities. And you heard this. I was listening to that. I closed my mouth, and they were making me think of how they try to make me have this perception toward this little kid over there. My lips are so dry; they literally are peeling off. And as I'm closing my mouth, my upper lip it goes over a little bit my lower lip. Now, these weird things they do to me is always it's rewiring these disgusting things, and just start making me think of this kid. It's like, oh, this is why you close your lips like that, because it's like, and they manipulate you to have this reaction, and you get all quiet and start playing. I was like, you disgusting trash. While you're working for pedophiles, this is how you rewire my brain, my thoughts in this. Some of it just kind of weird, nonsensical ways. That's just bizarre, but making me feel uncomfortable to even close my mouth completely, where my lips can be. It's just nasty. Well, they have the reality of working for these governmental entities. I'd rather die in hell. I'd rather be tortured, scream, than having to live life where this is a reality I'm creating, manipulating reality to this level, while listening to the issues with these entities with pedophilia. They are here for doing this weird manipulation with my lips and rewiring it with this pedophilia things they do to me. Trauma target individuals stay strong, but it doesn't end here. These people here that try to counter reality, not only involved in a program that does these horrible things. You of course know if somebody is just tormented to this level, this is going to cause some massive violence. There were mass shootings connected to this program. Mass shootings, we're talking about people dying caused by this program. Listen to this.
Why? Was a mentally unstable individual. This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it, he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and "My ELF Weapon." Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about.
There are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, that is what has driven me to this."
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters. Diane, they never had a chance. And still...
About his time spent here in
As sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church while I was in Las Cruces and in Houston. I've had stalkers follow me into church to harass me.
May had worked as a prosecutor in Las Cruces just weeks before the shooting. In his last words, May speaks of his paranoia and coins himself as a targeted individual who's been a victim of stalking and harassment. He talked about a trip to Houston where he said cars would drive by and honk their horns every 10 minutes to keep him on the edge and agitated.
Father, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Forgive me for all of my sins, past sins, present sins, any future sins.
In last week, from New York Times, I'm Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily. Today, the mass shooting that occurred in Maine last week, killing 18 people, was the country's deadliest of the year. It may also have been one of the most avoidable.
So, this is how I want to finish up with this video. And for all the perps involved in this thing, thinking that things are free and think nothing's going to come back to them, they're delusional. But today is not the day, perhaps. And for those who involved in my targeting, and in case of these people you see there, they know the day will come if it hasn't come yet. But I will never let them live their fantasy. I will never. You cannot do these horrible things to people. Not only that, but involving a program that does horrible things of the people, the most vulnerable you can imagine. And thinking, oh no, but I chose not to do no, you chose to be involved in a program that does these horrible things. You know what it means. And no, you're not going to paint this fantasy of what this program is really about. So you're not going to create your ideal reality for something that you know is not true. This is impossible to not understand that you're involved in this. You know what it means. I'm not that much of a genius. I'm not any smarter than you. And if I can see it under these conditions, you can see it even better. And I refuse to let these people try to block out reality just to enjoy the incentives of this program, because I see the incentives. I mean, what they do, what they're capable of involving themselves into, it's just magical. We talk about this level of sophisticated technology. You become basically a god in the sense of how you are involved in somebody's life and torment them and do things that just makes you forget that you just you're far from anything, but that it makes you forget that Not a God. I don't want to say anything else. But you can get lost, escape in that world, enjoy this technology, partake, involve yourself in some of the most advanced things you can imagine. Anybody can be participant. Anybody. I'm like, this program gives these people empowerments. We're basically like controlled, like dolls. Our thoughts, our mind, everything around us. And so people who don't have control in their life would love to partake. Matter of fact, everybody. Nobody has control in their life. But in our life, they have all the control. But they want to do these things, creating this deluded reality. You know? When I'm in pain, I'm screaming and begging. And I'll never think, oh, let me beg to be living the life of these people who aren't screaming, who are doing these nasty things to people. I'm just thankful to God. And I know who put me in this program. And please, I will never forget. Now, God give me strength. Give me strength for whatever horrible things I'm going to go through, because they are provoked by the reality of what they're part of. They wanted to box in this fantasy of a reality. But by every level, it's been validated what they're truly part of, what they do, and how nasty they are. Not only to men, but women and children. And I'm thankful that I was able to say that on TI Day 2020. And let this low-life trash who sold their soul to these entities filled with pedophiles get theirs when the time comes. To all my target individuals, stay strong.